Some of y'all about to be real mad at me, but it must be said.
Hey guys, Lovely Muse here, and welcome back to another chapter of my unpopular K-pop opinions, where I share my own opinions, based on my own knowledge of certain topics within the K-pop community. Anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Honestly, I think this opinion is a universal opinion and it is not even unpopular, but companies enforcing dating bans on their artist, yet expecting their artist to sing love songs or heartbreak songs, will always be ridiculous to me. Like, how do they honestly expect them to relate, or even express their emotions through writing and singing a song, when they have yet to actually experience those emotions they're writing and singing about personally? This brings me to another point under this opinion. Any fan or any company that wholeheartedly believes that their artists aren't meeting anyone behind closed doors are delusional, especially the fans. Like, there is absolutely no way that 17's Woozi hasn't gone through some form of romantic relationship. Like, songs like Don't Wanna Cry, Without You, Lie Again, or even Ready to Love, could not exist without some sort of experience. Woozi is known for not just being a good producer, but for being a really great lyricist as well. Plus, just like how she gets his choreographing inspiration from everyday objects and movements, I am sure Woozi gets his inspiration from something. And this goes for any other idol who has a hand in writing their songs. Plus, do you honestly think that even with a dating ban, idols aren't finding loopholes and hideouts, and meeting other people on the down low? I swear a majority of K-pop fans have this delusion that idols are innocent and pure, and are essentially babies that need to be looked after. But the reality is that majority of them are grown-ass adults and teenagers, with desires and hormones like everybody else. All I am saying is that people shouldn't be surprised if more idols start pulling an EXO-chan. Also, can media outlets stop calling two people who have been called out for dating a scandal? There is literally nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, scandalous about two human beings dating. Plus, if we go by the actual definition of what scandalous means, which is something that essentially causes general public outrage and is perceived to be an offense against morality or the law, then yes, there is nothing scandalous about two idols dating. Now, what's scandalous is those media outlets basically intruding upon those idols' personal lives without their knowledge or consent. That's basically an invasion of privacy, and that right there is scandalous. This opinion isn't actually my opinion, but it is definitely an opinion that I agree with. Which is that companies should have the groups do their mandatory military service together as a group, instead of having them go individually. Like right now, Monsta X Shonu is heading off to the military, but rather than just have him go by himself, Starship should have had the rest of the members go along with him. This not only benefits the company business-wise, but it also benefits the group and the fans. To understand what I mean, I will use 17 as an example. Pretty soon, the 95 liners of 17 will enlist in the military, except for Joshua. However, as we know, one of 17's main points is their teamwork and strong bond. So we know for sure that 17 isn't going to want to promote any group work without all the members present. Not to mention that Pledis is notorious for favoring promotions and commercial offers that are centered around OT13, rather than any of the members' solo works. I mean, DK is starting up his King Arthur musical again, and Pledis barely promoted it. Seungkwan apparently has been getting love calls from businesses after his Elle interview, to get him to promote their products, but according to Pledis, he turned them down because 17 comes first. So, when it's time for the 95 liners to head off to the military, Pledis will essentially only have about 3 options laid out for them. The first option being to provide the members who stayed behind, solo work, or official group units, and actually promote them in order to continue to gain some sort of income from 17. For instance, Pledis could easily revive BSS and give them a comeback. They can also make the Bring It unit, which includes Woozi and Hoshi, an official unit, and have them come out with an official song to promote. Pledis has so many options with promoting the members individually but still refuses to, in order to keep their OT13 teamwork strong. But have they not realized that OT13 can actually be a double-edged sword? Now the second option would be to have the group entirely go on a hiatus until all members are back and present. And I say hiatus, because like I said previously, 17 isn't going to want to promote any group music or group work, without all the members back and present. It goes against everything they stand for as a group, and them renewing their contract with Pledis as OT13 proves that. Now, when it comes to option 2, though it is an option. However, it is not really an ideal option, especially for a company like Pledis Entertainment. Business-wise, whether other fans from the other groups want to believe it or not, but 17 is Pledis' main source of income, and if they were to go on a hiatus without promoting anything for a long period, let's just say that it would be a hard hit to Pledis. Plus, aside from 17, Pledis only has one other active group, which is New East, and unfortunately, New East can't be the only active group that Pledis can rely on for income. This is not a hit towards New East. New East has definitely been hitting high numbers. But unfortunately, their numbers are still not in comparison to the numbers that 17 have been hitting, and that is just plain facts. Besides, this is not an issue exclusive to Pledis, this is an issue that even Big Hit Entertainment, officially now known as HYBE, realized with BTS. That is why Bang PD created new groups such as DXD and ENHYPEN, and even collected other groups and artists such as Zico, 17, New East, and former G-Friend. They needed other sources of income that they can rely on other than BTS, especially when BTS start heading off to the military. People out here saying HYBE is pulling a monopoly on K-pop because they keep acquiring different companies and groups. Like, can you guys grow up? That's just called business at the end of the day. SM Entertainment does it, so why can't HYBE? Plus, ever heard of the saying, you can't keep all your eggs in one basket, and that is actually what HYBE is trying to avoid. This now brings me to the third option, which is Pledis will have to debut a new group, to keep the fans tuned in until 17 is back as one. I mean, Pledis has all those trainees, apparently 50 plus, but have yet to debut any of them. Also, having all the members serve the military together, will make the time until we get to see 17 as a full group again much shorter. Depending on where they get assigned to at the military, we could be looking at 1.5 years, to 2 years, without seeing the 95 liners. Now, times those years by 3 or 4, because we still have the 96, 97, 98, and 99 liners, and we definitely won't be getting any OT13 for a long time. What could essentially be 6 to 8 years of waiting until 17 is back as a full group, could be reduced down to 1.5 years, to 2 years of waiting, if Pledis has all the members go at the same time. This is probably one of the hardest things when standing a large group. EXO-Ls went through it, or are going through it, but now imagine how Carrots will feel when their time comes, especially with a group with 13 members. Like the title of this opinion says, not every idol you see interact are friends. Not every idol you see react to other idols in a positive light, are friends. And most importantly, not every idol who is the same age are friends or need to be friends. I have always had this opinion because I have noticed for a while that fans tend to be delusional and take every interaction that their idols have with other idols for face value. However, I decided to finally voice out my opinion because of the recent V-Live that Sungkwan did. If you are a Carrot, then you are most likely aware of the annual We Remember K-pop series that Sungkwan does on the V-app, where he basically goes over different K-pop songs that he used to enjoy listening to growing up. The songs he would share would typically range from first generation to third generation. And sometimes he would provide little stories or events that occurred between him and the groups who sang those songs. So far he has only done 4 parts within the series, and on the 4th part of his We Remember K-pop series, he spoke about an incident that happened between 17 and Twice, that essentially caused both groups to be awkward with one another for the past 3 to 4 years. I am not going to go over the incident, because I am not trying to make this opinion any longer than it probably will. So instead, I will provide a link down below, to a video that basically summarized what had happened. Anyways, what Sungkwan said basically opened a lot of eyes for Carrots and Once, and even myself included. This whole time Carrots and Once made themselves believe that Twice and 17 were close friends. However, Sungkwan basically yanked the blindfold from our faces and told us that that wasn't the case at all. We even assumed that out of all the 17 members, that Sungkwan was probably the member who was closest to the Twice members, as we have seen him on multiple occasions, dancing to Twice's music, and happily reacting to their performance at awards show. But then it actually turned out that he had been awkward with them for the past 3 to 4 years, up until recently, where they finally cleared things up. This right here is a pure example that fans can't determine an idol's relationship with another idol off of mere interactions, reactions, or greetings that they find through fan cams. Just because your favorite idols are reacting happily to another idol's performance or song, or just because they greet each other or even give each other hugs, does not mean that they are close or even friends. Do people not know that there is something called being cordial with someone or people being acquaintances? Yes people, there is actually a difference between the people who are acquaintances, the people who you are cordial with, the people you consider your friends, and the people you call your best friends. For instance, there are people who I myself consider to be my friends, but there is probably only one person that I consider to be my best friend. In addition, there are people whom I have interacted with and may know on a surface level, but I do not consider them to be my friends, let alone best friends or people that I am even close to. For those kinds of people, they are essentially people who are acquaintances or that I am cordial with. Like I literally had someone in the comments section under one YouTube video, trying very hard to argue with me and prove to me that 17's Hoshi and Blackpink's Rosé are close friends. Just because you yourself, the fan, want these specific idols to be friends, doesn't mean that it's going to happen or that it should happen, or that it is even true. Fans need to learn how to separate the fantasies that they have of their idols from reality. Also, just because two idols are of the same age, does not mean that they should be friends with each other. This specific part of this opinion stems from the fact that a lot of stays seem to want Bang Chan to be part of the 97 liner friend group. But why? Other than the fact that he is the same age as them, why? Like, are you yourself friends with everybody who is the same age as you? Are you yourself friends with everybody that you say hello to or have had a slight interaction with? If you say two idols are actually friends with each other, then that's great. Just make sure that you are able to pull up receipts, and point out the sources from where you got your information. The person I was arguing with couldn't even pull sources from where they got their info from. All they said was that their source was a hidden source and that they believe them. Like, all right Pinocchio, I believe you. In short, fans need to realize that not every idol are friends just because they interacted with each other. And you most definitely cannot determine an idol's relationship with someone off of a couple of interactions that you have seen either. As the title of the opinion says, welcome back Hyunjin, we missed you. It's been 4 to 5 months since we last saw him, and those months really felt like forever. Hopefully, we will now be able to see a version of the Wolfgang performance that will now include him. Also, I don't know if it is just me, but I was watching episode 3 of Stray Kids Song Camp, Howl in Harmony, and to me, it seems that Hyunjin may have gotten taller, but also skinnier. When I saw him and Chan walking in the first scene, all I could think about was, has he always been that tall, or has Chan always been that short next to him? Like, I know Hyunjin is the tallest in Stray Kids, but I didn't think he was that tall, especially when standing next to Chan. And then when I saw his arms when they were in the water, I couldn't help but feel like he got skinnier. It doesn't look drastic, but maybe it's just because I haven't seen him in months. Anyways, I hope everything is alright, and that he doesn't take what has happened and beat himself over it moving forward. The best thing that we can do for ourselves, and for the people around us, is to move forward, and take what has happened to us and learn from it, in order to help it shape us for the better. So yeah, welcome back Hyunjin. Just as we were able to get Hyunjin back, we now have to say farewell to Monsta X Shonu. They really don't want multi-fans to have their cake and just eat it. You gain something but lose something in return. With Shonu now doing his mandatory enlistment, hopefully, this will be the time Starship will provide solo gigs for the other members, or let them rest, cause they have been pulling up with comebacks pretty frequently. I don't know about you guys, but I could definitely get behind a Monsta X subunit, but I also can't think of whom I would want to be in that subunit. Anyways, though we may not be able to get OT7, I mean OT6 for a while, I do still want to be able to get some sort of content from Monsta X. 17, TO1, ONEUS, Bam Bam, and BI, are the only groups and artists that have put out the best album so far, this year. Other groups and artists have come out with great songs this past year, but no group or artist has me liking literally every song on their album, like these 5 have this year. Like, not one song in their album is bad. Yes, there are some songs that I like more than others, and if they were playing I would probably, most definitely have them on repeat, like for instance, 17's Heaven's Cloud, Anyone, and Game Boy. BI's Illa Illa, Waterfalls, and Numb. ONEUS Connect and Happy Birthday, and TO1's Hello Goodbye, Surf, and With You. And last but not least, every single song in Bam Bam's Ribbon album is on repeat. But most definitely, not a single song in their album is a skip song. So I am not really an ENHYPEN fan. I do like a handful of their songs, but I wouldn't call myself a fan, because I don't know any of their songs past their title tracks, and I don't really keep up with them. So this opinion is coming from an outsider looking in, but also someone who can relate a little to how the Black Engines are feeling, as I am black. So from what I remember, one of the ENHYPEN members was accused of allegedly saying the N-word. And I say allegedly because it hasn't been proven true, as the company hasn't said anything, and I mean absolutely nothing regarding the situation. Now, do I think he said it? Honestly speaking, it sounds like he did, but I honestly don't know. Now, the Black Hen fans who believe he did say it, decided to take it up with their company, and emailed their company politely asking for an explanation. However, my problem isn't with him saying the N-word, it's the reactions that the Black Hen fans received for asking for an explanation, that not only disgusted me but really had me looking at the fandom, the group and the company, sideways moving forward. There are two things that I did not like about this incident. One was the reactions that the Black fans received, and two is the lack of response or even acknowledgement from the company nor the group. Weverse is supposed to be a place where everyone, such as the idols and the fans, can feel comfortable interacting with each other. But Hen fans really out here prove that toxicity follows you wherever you go. When I first heard about this incident, I genuinely thought this happened on Twitter. Because as we know, Twitter is known to be the mainland for racists. So you could definitely believe that I was very shocked when I heard that this happened on Weverse of all places. The things that were being said, and the photos that were being shared, only proved how black people really do get egged on the most in the K-pop community, and on this damn planet in general. And then people wonder why we are constantly complaining or being overly protective of certain things. It is because we are literally always disrespected wherever we go. What makes it even worse, is that a Black Hen fan supposedly off themselves, because of the amount of racist posts made towards them. And B-Lift, or Hen have yet to respond or even acknowledge what had happened. And then people have the audacity to say that a fandom shouldn't stop you from liking a group, like F off. You're damn right, that I refuse to like or support a group that can't even control or keep their fandom in check, especially when it comes to racism. I can definitely tell you that ever since that incident, I have been looking at Hen and their whole company in a different light. Engines might end up being known as the most racist K-pop fandom, and unfortunately, that title may possibly extend to the group as well. And donating money to the Black Lives Movement isn't going to change anything. Because the way things went down on Weverse should have never happened. Disgusting. Yes, I am one of those brave souls who will speak up against ARMY's behavior. At the end of the day, everyone likes to preach how an opinion is an opinion, and we should all respect everyone's opinion. But the moment that an opinion is directed at you or your fave, you now want to draw the line, and this applies mostly to ARMYs. ARMYs really need to stop being so sensitive. I remember watching D'Angelo Wallace's recent video that he did on BTS, where he provided his opinion on BTS's new song, Permission to Dance.
Let's just say, lyrics, auto-tune, and production are about to come up a lot in my review of their latest track, Permission to Dance. So for those who are unfamiliar, here's a little bit of context that's making their latest single so divisive. This is BTS's third English track released within a year, and based off of statements the band members have made and seeing how those tracks are performing on the charts, and just, you know, judging from the fact that the literal majority of their other music is in Korean, it's safe to assume that BTS is aiming for a bigger audience with these tracks, right? So the first of these recent English releases was called Dynamite, right? And that was an up-tempo pop song about dancing. Then they released Butter, an up-tempo pop song about how attractive they, BTS themselves, are. And to be honest, that is exactly the kind of energy I try to maintain in my own life. And now we have Permission to Dance, an up-tempo pop song about dancing again, I guess. And I have some thoughts on the track. First of all, I just want to say, I cannot understand what they're saying in this song. Now, obviously, English is not their first language, and I'm not criticizing them for having an accent or mispronouncing things. Even I don't pronounce everything correctly, especially in languages I don't speak very often. So what I mean by this is I just quite literally can't understand what they're saying. Like, hold up. What? It was to the point where when the song opened, I fully thought that they were trying to speak in Spanish. Like, you cannot listen to this and tell me like it doesn't sound like this man is about to say esta tarde. See, it's not just the way that they're singing in this track, because this wasn't a problem on the first two English tracks that they released in the last year. I think it has a lot to do with just the really weird way their vocals have been processed and then slathered in auto-tune for some reason, despite them being really amazing.
And if you look down in the comment section, my god. Let's just say that ARMY stay proving what the other fandoms keep saying about them being the most toxic fandom in K-pop. Like they really out here tried to declare D'Angelo a hater for not liking Permission to Dance. Just because he doesn't like one song from BTS does not automatically make him a hater, or anyone else for that matter. Which is something ARMYs tend to do. They tend to quickly label someone an anti or a hater because that person isn't constantly kissing BTS's ass. Like, you don't have to like everything your group does, and you certainly can't make everyone else like them either. There are some songs by 17 that I genuinely do not like, and in fact, Carrots even had an open discussion on Reddit where people spoke openly about not liking their recent title song Ready to Love respectfully. However, did the Carrots who did like the song come at the others, and called them a hater or an anti? No. They, in fact, came respectfully and respected the opinions of those who opposed the song and kept it pushing. But for some reason, ARMYs just can't let things be, or let things go. According to ARMYs, everyone must think the same way and like the same things. Another occurrence of this is when RM had made a tweet, where he shared a photo of his Louis Vuitton carrot pouch and captioned it "I got a carrot." A few hours later gamer Jack Manifold ratioed him by tweeting a similar tweet, but with him holding a custard cream biscuit with the caption "I got a custard cream biscuit." Now, tell me why ARMYs felt some type of way about that. To the point that his friend had to come to his defense against you guys. The tweet was harmless, but you guys for some odd reason couldn't handle it. And then you guys stay wondering why people keep saying they can't get into BTS because of the fandom. You guys really need to reevaluate yourselves, cause this type of energy and attitude, ain't it? Also, ARMYs need to realize that when other fandoms say that you guys are the most toxic fandom, they aren't necessarily lying, in the sense that, because you guys are the largest fandom in K-pop, it means that you guys have more toxic fans, and toxicity within the fandom. Like, you guys like to say how it is only because the fandom is bigger, but that's the point. The larger the fandom, the more toxicity, and the larger the fandom becomes, the more visible that toxicity becomes as well. It's plain and simple. But I do understand as well, that by the other fandoms saying that ARMYs are the most toxic, they are indirectly generalizing and clumping every single ARMY into one box, and we should know that not all ARMYs are toxic. So rather than saying all ARMYs are toxic, it would be more preferable if the other fandoms say ARMYs have the most toxic fans in their fandom. At least with that statement, you aren't generalizing all ARMYs, but simply pointing out a clear fact. Which is, that ARMYs do in fact have more toxic fans. Well, this has been Lovely Muse, thank you and see you next time.